See, last night I had a dream. I told Eric Gardner to breathe while I'm standing on top this mountain. I'm shouting, screaming out peace. I see no evil with police.
First of all, we have to be real. I mean, we can't heal. There's no healing that's gonna come with dishonesty. We have to be real about the situations and say, all right, and just, we can't turn a blind eye to what's going on in our society today and our cultures today. Whether it's a cultural disconnect, intergenerational disconnect, we can't turn a blind eye to it. We have to be real and authentic and transparent about it, because that's the first. If we continue to hide and continue to change the narrative to what suits us and makes us feel good about it, then nothing's gonna change.
We could debate on whether or not some of these police shootings in America are justified, whether some of them are criminal. But one of the things that stands out in my mind the most is, could some of them have been different had A, we got better compliance out of the people in the community, and B, if the police officers in the community had better training. And until both sides understand that they share a responsibility to make things better, to do better, it's just gonna be a cycle.
We've never been at a time in our lives where we have so many people of color who are now mayors, police chiefs, department heads. The injustices we've known in the past, this is now is the time to correct them. With that being said, it's all about relationships. In the past, what didn't work was communities of color being alienated by heavy-handed police measures. When I started my law enforcement career, if a homicide happened, the police would flood a neighborhood, alienating everyone. Not so much just the people, the violent offenders, but the everyday folk, that man who works at a factory but's driving an unregistered car, that person who drinks starting at 8 o'clock in the morning, that booster, the prostitutes, the junkie. All these people would be alienated, and all we did was just piss them off. We did not garner their support. We did not create relationships that would make them respond positively to being able to solve the homicide. So now we have a chance to build new relationships, because it's about relationships. And building new relationships, we create that bond of trust. We create police legitimacy.
These cops don't live in our area, and they come and they just bully the kids instead of trying to get a dialogue going with them. I find that kindness outweighs everything.
You get these officers that come from 3 towns over, it's a job to them. They don't have the same kind of pride that kids that were brought up in their own community would have. What we need to do as a society is bring up these young generation of kids to respect the cops, to want to be a cop, so they could police the community that they grew up in. You have the most pride in your own community. Why not police your own community? Why not go in the same neighborhoods that you grew up in and see to it that crime don't strike here because I'm from here. You're not gonna come here and commit crime here because this is the same streets that I grew up in. I think that's a big part of it too.
When I started my police career in 1978 here in New Haven, you had to live in the city of New Haven. There was what's called a residency clause. And having a residency clause, the neighborhood that I now live in, which is West River, there was, I want to say, about 12 to 15 of us that lived within 3 blocks. You couldn't throw a stone without hitting a police officer. Needless to say, the mindset of how we policed our communities was totally different. There was a sense of territorial ownership because we lived there. We see such a major difference between blacks and whites. Whites in the suburbs, yes, they know the officer. Yes, because he's a coach of little Bobby's softball team, or they attend worship, or they shop at the same place, or their children go to school. But the point is that they know one another and they have a relationship. Here in the inner city and most urban communities, our police work in our communities, and then when they get off of work, they flee to the suburbs. It's hard for me to beat up on young Mutts when I know his father, or when I know his grandfather, or I know his mother, or I know his people. So when you have a relationship with, whether it's Officer Spell, and I'm having a beef with my neighbor, but when I've got Officer Spell's cell phone number, all I gotta do is say, Officer Spell, me and my neighbors, the Mutts, man, we're beefing. Could you come and talk to us? Guess what? We just circumvented the system. We're able to communicate, because that's all it's about, is communication. And we cut down on the stress and the drama.
I recently had a baby. She's 11 months old right now, but she was 2 months early, and she was in the NICU for a while. There was a lot of complications. Thank God everything worked out well. But during that whole time, the first 6 months of her life, we were in and out of the hospital, and a lot of times I would have to go and visit her while I would still be partly in my uniform. So as I'm sitting there one day in the waiting room, I see, a young black man with a, 2-year-old child, 1-year-old child, and he recognized my pants and my boots, and he knew I was a cop. He made me as a cop. And I remember sitting there and him telling his 1-year-old child to take a good look at me up and down, and said that any man that wears those pants or those boots, don't trust him. And he went on and on for the next 5 minutes until I had to get up and walk away about how cops have no use in America, how if you see somebody that looks like me, don't ever talk to me, don't ever trust me. And I just thought to myself, man, this kid has no shot. This kid has absolutely no shot. I know I'm no threat to that child. If that child summoned me from the side of the road and wanted help, I'd be there in a heartbeat, risk my life for that child. But you have probably the biggest influence in his life telling him that the mere presence of me is enough to not trust me. I thought to myself, man, something needs to be done. And that's just one story that really sticks out in my mind as to where we are in America right now. So
Only when we create that reconciliation process of police knowing their community and community knowing their police do we have a different world. And as I said before, never before have we had black governors, black senators, black police chiefs, black fire chiefs that are in the chairs to make the difference. Now is the time to make the difference. Make the difference so there won't be more Allens. Make the difference so that those young men and young women who are growing up gang banging and running and gunning have a chance at life. That even in their mistakes, realizing just like Jesus Christ said forgiveness. Every religion, whether you are Jewish, whether you're Sikh, whether you're Muslim, speaks of redemption and second chances. So now's the time for us to work and strive at second chances. Now is the time for us to strive at building those community and police bonds. And now is the time to make a change. The future for my grandchildren and my grandchildren's children doesn't have to be the one that I lived.
Cold world, but I wish that it was pain-free. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it was meant to be. Turn on my TV, and all I do is see another nigga shot dead by a PD. Now is it me, or does it seem like
The near future for me is to continue my efforts and continue just to make people smile. If I could say something that touches somebody's lives, or a young mother, or a young kid going through something that other people don't understand, and if I could say something that could just ease their mind for that 1 second or give them a glimmer of hope, then I'm doing my job, I'm doing my part. Now there's a lot, and if everybody does something, it could be the smallest activity, the smallest, just saying hi to people, just asking somebody if they're all right, just asking somebody if they're, just saying thank you and I appreciate you at times. If you're able to do that, then we're able to change the narrative slowly, and gradually we'll begin to see things change. There's a few of us, but we need more.
I feel like as a hip-hop community, there needs to be more done, like what's going on right now, like what Rich Mutts is doing, bringing certain issues to the light. And I feel like if more hip-hop artists did that, we might be able to make a change.
I'm very proud to say he's my son because he stands up for the right things. He's standing up. He has a voice. He has the voice that I think you and I probably wanted to have, but he has that voice, and that's like a blessing to us. He's a blessing from God.
Richard been doing this rapping and stuff like that ever since he was about probably 5 or 6 years old. He would come home from school, and him and his friend would go down there and do what they do.
Making those little tapes?
Yeah. And we're very proud of Richard and also our other son, because of the young men that they turn out to be.
I'm here to speak life. I'm here to bring the love back. I'm here to bring the joy and the smiles back to hip hop. I mean, it's all good. I like to dance and I like to party too, and I like the records that are out now. But at the same time, I have to, before I leave this earth, I have to do my part. I have to make a change, and this is what this EP signifies. It's more of a homecoming, a rebirth, a rebranding, a rejuvenation of Rich Mutts, who he is as a man and as an artist. So that's my job. It's a job. It's an assignment. It's not just something that I'm doing for a hobby. This is an assignment, and I have to fulfill my assignment.
Understanding is mellow. Ain't understanding mellow. Open up a dialogue. Talk. Love. Care. That's all. That's what we're put on this earth to do. Love one another, care for one another, take care of one another. That's our jobs. Not kill one another.
I spend a lot of time alone, praying, thinking, and meditating on ways not only to change myself, but change this world that I live in. I'm fully aware that the road I'm traveling is not without roadblocks, and the majority of the time I feel like I'm swimming against the current. But as I said earlier, I believe I was built different, built special, and call me crazy, but I truly believe I'm the man for the job. See, my belief is pain is music, and the best music is created when it's fed off emotions exclusively. I believe in karma. I no longer believe in coincidences. But one thing that's for certain is we all have a part to play.
If I hear about one more, my lord, I just don't know. I can't keep my mouth closed cause I just might explode. I am on edge, don't push me, oh yes, I am close. Historical, yeah, we could go way back.